Part 5. Day 22, Saturday morning. Morning, journal. I suppose I feel a little better this morning. It's really hard to say. I'm getting these confusing dreams. I'll be lying there in bed, then suddenly, Shirley is there. But when I wake up, she's gone. I guess this sort of thing happens when you get lonely. And I just blocked myself out of having a relationship with someone I actually liked. But I suppose my brain isn't going to let me live it down for a while. Well, my subconscious is just going to have to deal with it. I need to blot her out of my mind for a while, at least in that way. The best thing I can do in the meantime is keep myself busy and let things go back to normal. I'm letting Shy sleep in a little bit before we go out to the lake today to swim again. I'm pretty excited to see if I can get her to work up the courage to swim a little more on her own. I've also been debating having her take me to the woods with her to see the animals. I know it's against my previous words, but I've seen her glance out at the tree line now and then. If these animals are really her friends, and I'm keeping her from them, does that make me the bad guy? Maybe I should apologize to them in some way, but make them all know that she has to be in the yard when they play, unless I come to the supervision. As nervous as I am about letting my daughter hang around a bear, there wouldn't be a more protective bodyguard. It's a fucking bear. On the other hand, it's a fucking bear. If that thing got upset with me, or worse, I dunno. I still need to think over it more. I better get some stuff ready for the lake today. I hope the store is bunny-sized inner tubes. Day 22, Saturday evening. That might have been just what I needed. I'm so proud of Fluttershy. She managed to swim all on her own. However, it wasn't thanks to my help. I got a little floating tube for Angel to rest on in the water while she practiced. I thought it might boost her confidence a little bit. I suppose it did. She was able to tread water for a little while with her eyes closed after I released her, but when she opened her eyes, she panicked. I was about to call it a day and decide progress was progress, but then Angel slipped off his tube and fell in the water. I've never seen someone react so fast. Fluttershy dove into the water after him, then swam him to safety. I just watched in amazement and shock. Angel was completely fine. He just got a little lake water in his throat. After the little filly figured out what she did, she was so proud of herself. She swam herself out a little deeper in the lake, all by herself, and then talked to a few of the fish in the pond. I just watched with a smile on my face. It sounds like she wants to come back every weekend and bring them some bread to nibble on. If it works out, it would be nice. I like watching the water ripple in time with the breeze of the wind. It's so relaxing and I'm able to completely clear my head. Maybe that's a reason why people like to fish so much on Earth. On second thought, beer was probably a factor too. After we got done, Fluttershy's wing feathers were really dirty, so when we got home, I suggested she go to take a bath. She didn't seem to have a problem with it, but after about 5-10 minutes in the shower, she asked for my help. Needless to say, I was confused. She said she couldn't reach all the parts of her wing. I felt so stupid. Being a guy, I had zero need for a shower brush. I had a hairbrush covered, so he could get the tangles out of her mane, but I never thought about the wings. I would have never thought that wings were such a big deal. Anyway, I went into the bathroom with her and helped her wash her wings. She was extremely quiet while I helped. She was probably so embarrassed. I think I did a really good job massaging and cleaning all of the lake junk out of the wings though. You could say I had a lot of practice. The thought crossed my mind that the pegs that I work on at the massage parlor usually really enjoy when I work on their wings, in an inappropriate way. However, I wouldn't think Fluttershy would be old enough for that sort of thing yet. Needless to say, I went and got a shower brush before I went to bed that night. Anyway, I bring all of this up, cause after I dried her, all of her fur puffed out and I had to do everything I could not to smile too wide or giggle. It was adorable. She was less than enthusiastic about it, but was happy I helped. I brought up the idea at dinner to go into the forest the next day. She was shocked to say the least. I said I would be interested in meeting her animal friends. She didn't have to think too hard, so it's settled. Tomorrow we're going into the forest. I hope that bear doesn't have any hard feelings. Journal, if I don't write another entry, keep being a book. Day 23, Sunday morning, journal. This afternoon, Shy is taking me into the forest to meet the animal friends. I'm a little nervous. Hopefully for obvious reasons. I'm also thinking this might make Shy come face to face with the fact that she can talk to animals and others can't. It might give her that highly coveted cutie mark of hers. When I get back, I'll be sure to tell you every detail. It's been great doing some things to get Shirley off my mind. Plus, it seems like Fluttershy is having an awesome weekend so far. Just gotta keep it up. I know they all can't be fun and interesting, but I can try for a little while. It hasn't even been a full month together yet. I still feel like I'm struggling for answers sometimes, but it's starting to feel more natural. Those books did say that fillies usually take to adopted parents better than colts do. They sure weren't kidding. Anyway, I think I hear her waking up. Let's do this. Journal. I'll tell you everything when I get back. Day 23, Sunday evening. Well, that went significantly better than expected. After building a small pack of supplies, we set out on expedition. We walked into the forest together and I simply did my best to keep my cool. The woods weren't quite as dangerous feeling or oppressive in the middle of the day, especially when we entered the clearing only about 20 feet into the woods or so. I must have gotten crazy lost that one night, cause it took much longer to find a spot when I found her. When we entered the clearing, at least 6 squirrels scurried up to her immediately, but backed off when they saw me. Bunnies and birds made calls that made all sorts of woodland creatures hang on the edge of the clearing, but only a handful of bunnies and birds dared to make a cautious approach. I gave a small wave, but it seemed to only make them more wary. Once Fluttershy began to speak calming words to them, saying this was a daddy, they seemed to get more at ease. I got out a handful of seeds that Fluttershy said were ones they liked, as well as a handful of acorns, and knelt down with outstretched hands of munchies. Slowly, they came up to me and began to eat out of my hands. It was a really serene and calming experience. Then, she tapped me on my shoulder and said exactly what I dreaded. Daddy, Harry is here. The bear. So, what I knew about bears on Earth were a few simple things. Journal. 1. You do not want a bear hug, ever. 2. Do not upset them. 3. If you do not have food, you are food. So naturally, I was a little scared. I looked up, and he loomed over me on 2 feet. I set the food on the ground and slowly rose up. This is also another case where the uncanny little nature of this world worked in my favor, because we stood eye to eye. Reaching slowly into my pack, I pulled out something I had been saving for myself. But now that I have a filly, I can't particularly cook. A freshly caught fish, descaled, deboned and ready for cooking. Oh, right, I should go into that. That was an awkward conversation with Fluttershy. When I said I had a fish to give him, before we left, she imagined a nice, little critter that was alive. Then, her face erupted into shock when she saw it. I wasn't sure how to explain it. The human conversation never really came up with her before. She asked if humans were kinda like bears. I wasn't sure how to really answer that, but I think that bears eat both berries and meat. So, an omnivore? So, I said yes, but that I wasn't going to eat meat while she was my little filly, because I knew she would hate to see me cook animals. She smiled, but looked concerned at the same time. It was the last of my meat anyway, so it just worked out alright. Anyway, sorry for the detour. Journal. Back to Harry. So, I give the bear his fish, and say I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. I was just scared. He looks from me, to the fish, to Shy. Then he smiled, took it from my hand and ate it on the spot. So first Angel understood me, then the bear. I was really curious, so I looked down and asked her if she thought they understood me. She nodded and said something that seemed to make a lot of sense. Animals always hear us, not the words, but they know what we are saying. It made a lot of sense to me, anyway. In a way, I suppose it applies to them too. At least, I feel like I'm beginning to understand Angel a little bit. After that, the two of us all just spent time in the forest, playing all sorts of games with her animal friends. It was refreshing to see her so unburdened by her school friend worries and playing with someone. No, some pony. Well, no, some animal, not me or Angel. It's a step in the right direction. With some luck, maybe the shyness will just disappear over time. Once we got home, she fell asleep on the couch, so I carried her up and tucked her into bed with Angel. Overall, today was a good day. Journal. Hopefully tomorrow she has a good day at school. Right. Hopefully Chirley is alright. I just hope she won't be rough on Fluttershy cause she's angry at me or something. I'll find out tomorrow. Night. Journal. Day 24, Monday morning. Well, the weekend was a great way to get my mind off of things. But now is the moment of truth. I'm worried that Fluttershy is going to be treated differently. I hope Chirley is okay. I hope Shy doesn't get bullied today. I just wish I could do something more. I wish there was something I can do. Day 24, Monday evening. Fluttershy made a friend today. Let that sink in for a second. Journal. It took me a moment too. She bounded into the house today with a smile on her face and a skip in her step. The little filly was more than happy to tell me about her new partner in school, Applejack. Once she began to tell me about how they were working together and having a good time, I knew that it wasn't just a matter of coincidence that this happened. It had to be Chirley. The two of them are going to walk to school together every morning now. I don't think I could be any happier. I asked if there were any bullying problems today, and she shook her head. Now that she's friends with Applejack, everyone seems to like her. Since everyone likes Applejack, I asked her to tell me about her new friend, and she didn't delve into too much that I didn't already know. Filly that lives on the apple farm, very confident and assertive, a bit of a leader. Good traits that I hope will rub off onto Fluttershy. She went into a lot of detail about how they ate lunch together and got to know each other better. Apparently Applejack went on and on about her granny and her brother. I already knew about the parents from Chirley, so I didn't press, and Fluttershy didn't think anything of it either. The topic of Shy's family must not have been brought up. You know, I never did know what happened to Shy's parents. Wow, I'm bad at this whole adopting thing. I really should have known that. Should I ask her? What if there are painful memories? Then again, she didn't seem to have any painful memories. I probably would have seen or guessed something that would have inclined to a troubled past. I would like to think that not a whole lot manages to get by me. Then again, most parents would like to think that, and I got away with so much when I was a kid. I wonder what Fluttershy is getting away with. It doesn't really matter. I'm just happy to hear she made a friend. Maybe I can inject the idea of a sleepover to Fluttershy. Is that weird? I'm just curious about her new friend. Hopefully AJ is a good influence on her. Night. Journal. Wait a minute. Does this mean I owe Chirley? I'm not going to think about it. Day 25. Tuesday morning. Fluttershy ended up waking up and being ready for school half an hour early and waiting eagerly for her apple friend. She was able to play with Angel to pass the time out in the yard as I cleaned cereal bowls and got my things ready for another day at the spa center, but I was watching through the windows like a hawk. Sure enough, right around 20 minutes before school started, an orange filly with a long blonde mane, held at the end with a ribbon, and emerald green eyes approached the house and talked to Fluttershy. I opened my window to listen, and Fluttershy introduced Angel to Applejack. She had one of the most distinct southern accents that I've heard. It must come from her family. AJ mentioned she had a puppy named Winona, and it would be fun if they all played together sometime. Fluttershy agreed, and then they headed off for school. After Fluttershy waved at me, I locked eyes with her friend for just a second, and saw a deep look of confusion in her gaze. I'd be willing to put money that they are going to have the adoption talk today. I hope that doesn't change anything for her new friend. Day 25, Tuesday evening. Work sucked today. A frequent customer of mine wanted to be switched to one of the other masseuses. When I asked why, I wasn't given one. Weird, but I've been trying to not think about it. Shit happens. I'll get a new one eventually. Anyway, now that the pleasantries are out of the way, Fluttershy came home and was really quiet, but smiley. So, I asked her about Applejack and if they did anything fun today. She said they played out on the playground at recess, played jump rope with a few fillies, then, nothing else really until we sat down for dinner. Then she spoke up and said that Applejack asked her something a little weird today. "Why isn't your dad a stallion?" she asked. I asked her what she said. I told her I was adopted and that you're my daddy, she replied. I said something like, "Oh, well, that makes sense." Yet, she replied that it wasn't the weird part. AJ asked her what it was like, to have a dad, and I just froze mid-bite. I expected, why is he human? What is he? What happened to your birth parents? Can he speak our language? But not that. I set my fork down and just looked over to her as she kept eating without even thinking. She said something profound. So what did he reply? I asked. She looked up at me and smiled. It's like always having a best friend that you can talk to, except they also want you to be happy, grow up big and strong, and learn new things. Daddies have to make sure you don't break rules, and sometimes that's not fun, but they just want what's best for you. When did my little girl get to be so smart? This filly is going to go places when she gets older, I swear. Anyway, I just smiled and then asked why she thought she asked that. Then she got quiet and looked down at her plate. She looked up at me and said she made me promise not to tell anyone. Would you keep it secret? Of course, I nodded. Jay told me today that she doesn't have parents, just her granny and her brother. She doesn't remember what her mommy and daddy were like. Sometimes her brother tells her things, and her granny tells her stories, but she doesn't remember. I feigned a surprise and said that's terrible and that I felt sorry for her. Then, almost immediately, she looked up and asked, would you be Applejack's daddy too? My heart about dropped. I told her that I didn't know and would have to think about it. What in the world did I just get into? Journal, I'm sure this isn't going to be the last of that conversation. If that's what it takes to nurture Fluttershy's friendship, then maybe I can tell her yes, I don't really have a problem being a father figure for other fillies. Fluttershy comes first, though. Day 26, Wednesday morning. Another morning, at least this time. Fluttershy didn't wake up at the crack of dawn to wait for her friend. I watched them off again, and when I waved them goodbye, Applejack waved too. She seems friendly. It warmed my heart to see my little girl so ecstatic. Hopefully today is a better day at work. I'm dreading heading into the center today. Day 26, Wednesday evening. Holy shit, work sucked today. I had another client stop working with me on a regular basis. What in the hell is going on? My boss called me in and asked me if I've been doing anything to the customers or doing something different. I don't think I've been doing anything different. Neither of the mayors would give a reason why they wanted to stop working with me and go to someone else. Do I smell or something? I don't get it. Either way, it's left me exhausted and too tired to write. Fluttershy seemed to have another good day this week. She told me that the Apple family wanted to invite us over for dinner on Friday. So, 2 days from now, geez, when I first set out on this journaling journey, I didn't think it would be so hard to keep track of time. Anyway, I said it would be great for all of us to have dinner together. I wouldn't mind meeting Applejack's family, the Apple farm, or seeing the kiddos interact a little more. I'm looking forward to it. And a meal from some pony that's a better cook than me. I hope they have apple pie. Hopefully I should be able to do it directly after. Shit, Shirley's appointment. She's probably going to quit too. Then what will I do? I'll have to begin accepting walk-ins again, or do preening for the Pegasi, or do hoof cleanings. It's bad enough that I refuse to give happy endings now. Shit. Journal. I didn't think this far ahead. What if I'm out of a job while taking care of this filly? I might have to do more things in order to try and make ends meet, or try to build a little savings fund to fall back on. Great, cause I needed more things to stress out about. I didn't need this too. Day 27, Thursday morning. Hey, journal. I'm going to talk to the boss about getting some more responsibilities around work. Hopefully the extra income should let me begin to have a pillow in case an emergency happens. With some luck, I won't need to take too many extra hours. Applejack picked up Fluttershy again. This time I was outside to see them off. It felt a little weird to be named Fluttershy's dad, but I think I could get used to hearing it. Sometimes I still forget that I have a little one coming home from school, or accidentally get out only one plate. Yet, I think I'm getting the hang of all of this. I've pored over every book I've found. Now, I think the next thing to do is focus on what her future education will have to be like and see when to begin teaching her how to fly. So, I think I'm going to run by the library and check out a few more books. It should be a big day. Journal. I'll see you later. Day 27, Thursday evening. Well, The good news is that the boss will let me take on some more work around the center. I'm going to have to do some janitor-like stuff, do walk-ins, do more types of treatments and work through any sort of lunches, but I should be making a solid chunk of more bits. In fact, today they had me do some front-end stuff. The bad news is that I think I figured out why some ponies are leaving my treatments. One of the coworkers asked if I had a fling with Shirley. The rumor apparently spread like wildfire. They made the connection that she was a customer of mine and that was what every pony thought happened. I had 3 mares come in and asked if they could have my special. That was both simultaneously flattering and creepy. I'm sure after a few weeks, this will all die down. I'm sure that's why my boss called me in the other day, too, to see if I had been doing anything with the clients. Good thing I just cut myself off from Shirley. Things could have gotten bad fast. Ugh. Enough about work though. You go to work so you can live your life. You don't live your life to go to work. Fluttershy and I spent all night making a carrot cake for tomorrow. It took everything I had to ensure that Angel wasn't going to get into it. He kept jumping up to the refrigerator handle and trying to open the fridge. I had to laugh as he struggled so hard. That bunny will try to do anything for a carrot. Wait just a second. How are those carrots getting into Fluttershy's room? No, seriously Journal. Now I don't get it. If Angel can't open the fridge, he can't be taking the carrots. Is Fluttershy doing it? Is snacking? Weird. We had a talk about this. Good thing I just got my new books. One on flight training, and one on how to teach your children about adult topics like lying, standing up for yourself, and, well, the birds and the bees. I don't even want to think about that yet. She has to be too young. Anyway, I'll be sure that she gets a talking to about doing things behind her dad's back. Of all the things I have to deal with, I'm happy this is just a little thing. Anyway, we made a cake. It looks really nice. Okay fine, Journal. I'll stop beating around the bush. Tomorrow is an appointment with Shirley and I don't know what the hell to do. Should I play it cool? Act like nothing's happened? How will she react? I better say a thank you for still setting up Fluttershy and Applejack together. I just hope she isn't mad and we can still be civil. I know I want to still keep things civil. Hell, she seems nice. I wouldn't even mind if she's a mother figure to Fluttershy, but I can't be in a relationship, period. I know, it's the same old things I've said 1,000 times, but one of these days it'll sink into my thick skull. I might as well try to get some sleep. Tomorrow will be a big day. Night, Journal.